Thank you for your interest in preventing corporate identity theft. This presentation will offer you insight into how corporate identity theft occurs, some of the most common ways individuals take over a corporation's identity, and ways to prevent it. The first step in preventing corporate identity theft is understanding what it is. Corporate identity theft is also known as account takeover. Account takeover happens when an individual fraudulently changes a company's vital information, such as mailing address and key company contacts, to his or her own information. Once the individual has changed the company's information, he or she can then make changes to that information and even use it to apply for credit. There are 4 key strategies that are used in account takeover. They are social engineering, online filings, dumpster diving, and internal access. Now let's look at each of these individually. A common way unauthorized users obtain information is through what is known as social engineering. This is when the user calls the company to obtain vital information, such as electronic passwords, by befriending the company under pretense that they are conducting legitimate business. For example, the person may call your customer service department pretending to be another vendor, and they are asking for sensitive data such as electronic passwords to help with technical issues. Always remember, no one from Comdata or any other legitimate business should ever contact you inquiring about account-sensitive information or for passwords. Online filings. Most states now allow businesses to file or refile annual reports online with the Secretary of State. However, the Secretary of State does not conduct a verification process to ensure persons making the filings are valid or that the business itself is valid. This gives unauthorized users the opportunity to change addresses and add themselves as officers of the company. Once this occurs, these users have the opportunity to apply for credit in the company's name as an officer. Dumpster diving is perhaps the most basic and easiest way for unauthorized users to gain access to sensitive data. Dumpster diving is simply when individuals go through waste receptacles looking for sensitive data. Keep in mind that this pertains to both interior and exterior trash receptacles. You should always keep in mind who has access to your waste bins, such as guests, outside contractors, and cleaning crews. It is imperative that you always shred sensitive documentation to ensure that unauthorized users do not have access, easy access, to personal information. Internal access. Account takeover doesn't always occur from outside parties. Employees also have access to vital information and have the opportunity to take over a corporation's identity. You should always be aware of how and where employees have access to your company's sensitive data. Mitigate fraud by implementing a proper checks and balances system, and whenever an employee is terminated or resigns, you should immediately block their access to secure data and sensitive information. Former employees, given their knowledge of your business, can easily commit account takeover fraud. And now that we know more about the ways account takeover occurs, let's consider some tips for preventing it. The first line of defense starts with you and your ability to protect your company's vital information. Some easy ways of doing that is avoid using common passwords that are easily compromised, such as if your name is Frank, don't make your password Frank1. You should always be alert for and train your employees on how to recognize social engineering techniques. Make sure that you safeguard your passwords and other sensitive data. Again, to prevent dumpster diving fraud, you should shred important documents, mail, and all paper records. Be sure to establish checks and balances to monitor account activity. For example, although you may have a trusted account administrator handling your financials with your company, without a proper checks and balance system in place, opportunities for theft dramatically increase. You should always have at least more than 2 people monitoring your account activity. And then finally, utilize Comdata's Risk and Compliance Department. The Risk and Compliance Department continually conducts extensive due diligence on customers and customer accounts in an effort to prevent and protect your business from account takeover. For more information on Comdata's Enterprise Risk and Compliance Department, please visit comdata.com or contact your Comdata representative. Thank you for your interest in this presentation. We hope you found value in the information that's provided.